All right, we are in geometry. Today's date is September 3rd. We came back after that 3-day weekend. Please write the date, September 3rd, 2019. We are dealing with vertical angles again, but this time harder with equations. So, quiet raised hand. Someone read the objective. All right, Julian, go for it.
Solve equations with vertical angles.
Thank you. 50 XP to Julian. Thank you, Fernando. All right. That's it. So we're doing vertical angles, but this time we're solving equations. So geometry is linking back to Algebra 1 and saying, make sure you know how to solve everything from Algebra 1 because we're going to apply it to geometry. It's a very common theme throughout geometry. You're going to use geometry and Algebra 1. So again, these are vertical angles. The way that I say that they're vertical angles is by putting a little tick mark here and here, and these are both congruent angles. That means that their measure are equal. So let's fill in the blanks here. These angles here, what's the word that says that they're on the other side of each other? It starts with an O. Quiet raise hand if you remember it. Josie. It is indeed opposite. 50 XP to Josie. Thank you, Fernando. Opposite. So those two angles are opposite of each other. Whenever you have two lines crossing, the angles opposite of each other will be, I already said the word, but let's see if we can get it. Vertical angles are what? Starts with a C. Vertical angles are Cohen. Congruent, there it is. Which is not the same word as the one down here. If I'm talking about the measure of the angles. When I say the measure, I'm talking about the number. The number. Numbers can be, starts with an E. Jose? It is indeed equal. Yeah, every time you participate, you get 50 XP. It should be automatic. And Fernando, if you have any questions, just let me know. Like, does this person deserve XP? Thank you, Jose. That was 50 XP. All right, so congruent angles. If I'm talking about geometry, things are congruent. If I'm talking about mathematics, numbers, then they're equal. Are there questions about the distinction there? Many mathematicians still make that mistake, so I want you guys to be super awesome mathematicians that know the difference. All right, so we're moving down here to example number 1. Solve for x. Well, those two, this expression and this expression must be what? We're talking about the measure of the angles. So the measure of these angles must be, quiet raised hand. The measure of the angles must be, quiet raised hand. Andres.
Please
Quiet raised hand. The measure of these two vertical angles must be, yes, Andres with a quiet raised hand. Equal. So I'm going to say this equals this. It is 50 XP, Fernando, if you didn't catch that. No, you cannot. All right, so it is going to be this red angle, this 6x minus 15. That is going to now be equal to the other measure of the angle, which is 4x plus 5. 4x plus 5. You set them equal. This will get confusing later, but for now it seems pretty easy. If you have vertical angles, set them equal to each other, solve. Set them equal, solve. Set them equal, solve. It's the same thing over and over today. That'll get confusing later because eventually I'm going to be saying, oh, instead of setting them equal, add them together and set it equal to 180. So make sure that you know vertical angles. Set them equal to each other because they are congruent angles. All right, I need someone to help me solve this. Quiet raised hand. What do I do? Jose. Not quite. Distributing is the word when you have parentheses and then something multiplying by the parentheses. You want to try again? Let's subtract 5 from both sides. Everyone follow along. Subtract 5. Subtract 5. And Jose, read me my new line, please. Perfect, because that 5 and negative 5 cancel out. Thank you, Jose. Fernando's keeping track of the XP. We're on to the next part of the problem. Sergio. Minus 6x on both sides. And what do I get after I do that, Sergio? Perfect. Thank you, Sergio. Question? Question again is, do you guys all remember how to do sign language for a question? Q. Downwards pinch. Downwards pinch. All right. All right. And next step, Andres.
So you divide by -2?
Divide both sides by -2. And I get what?
You would get positive 10. 10 equals x, yeah.
There it is. Thank you, Andres. ¿Tienen preguntas? You guys have questions? Question, yeah, go for it.
You do it the other way.
Yes, you could have done it the other way, where instead of subtracting 5, maybe you add 15 to both sides. And instead of subtracting 6x, you subtract 4x and put the x on the left side and the constant term on the right side. You will still get the same answer. Good question. Any other questions? With a quiet raised hand with Q. All right, we're moving on to example number 2. Oh, it's the same thing. Vertical angles with an equation. Who can help me set up the equation? So far, we only have expressions. Who can turn these expressions into an equation? Gunnar. You cannot say that, Gunnar. I control HP. Go for Gunnar.
14x plus 24 equal to 16x minus 16.
Perfect. There it is. Thank you, Gunnar. Everyone make sure that you have the equations set up. The equation, singular, not plural, set up. Those two measures of the angles are equal. Seems pretty easy, right? We nod our heads. So far, so good. All right, so next step, quiet raise hand. What am I doing? Sergio. We're going to add 16 both sides, plus 16, plus 16. Everyone follow along. Sergio, can you please read out our new line after adding 16 to both sides?
40
Plus 40,
equals 19.
19x. There it is. Thank you, Sergio. All right. Next step, quiet raise hand. What am I going to do? Next step, Andres.
So, you subtract 14x to both sides.
Yep, subtract 14x from both sides.
And it would be 40 equals 5x.
40 is equal to 5x. Perfect, Andres. Thank you. Last step. It has to be someone new. Oh, Fernando, you're someone new. Yeah, go for it.
Divide by 5 on both sides.
Divide both sides by 5. And I get what, Fernando?
X equals 8.
X is equal to 8. It's asking to solve for x. We have solved for x. There it is. Thank you, Fernando.
So, answer me with the degrees.
You don't have to put the degrees in the answer. Like, is your question like you have to put this little thing right there? This, you don't have to do that because they already put it for you right there, I think. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, it's a very technical question. For now, we'll just say it's 8. It depends on, I think you're actually right, Sergio, because unless they did that, we should probably be putting units, which do matter a lot in geometry, but yeah, I make that mistake all the time, yeah. So if you're being very technical, they both need degrees. Yeah, nice. Can you log the extra credit point? And oh, you don't have them? Fernando, can you give him the 70 XP for catching a teacher error? All right, extra credit trackers are coming around now. Make sure that you give one to Edward, please.
I have no.
Oh, you do have them? All right, grab them, pass them on.
Right there. I think with a
And let's go to example number 3, our final example. Before I get to this final example, give me a fist of 5. How confident are you in solving these equations? Out of 5. Be honest. If I have a lot of no numbers, then we'll do example 3. If I have a lot of high numbers, then we'll skip example 3.
Wait. Oh, that's mine. Oh.
All right, let's do this one. We have a few 3s out there. All right. Quiet raise hand. Someone new set up the equation. Turn these two terms into equation. It has to be someone new. I apologize to everyone that has already participated. Someone new. Someone new. Who can set up these equations? Yeah, I'll sign it later. Someone new. Go for it, Julian.
10x plus 22 equals 12x plus 8.
10x plus 22.
Does the order matter or not?
The order does not matter at all. Good question. Next time I expect a quiet raised hand, though. 12x plus 8. Thank you, Julian. Again, I need someone new. I want everyone in here to participate at least once. We have a quiet girl corner over here that I'm going to have to do an assigned seating to probably split that up later. Some of these girls, I'm waiting for one of these 4 girls to tell me. One of these 4 girls, tell me what to do in this problem to solve for x. I'm talking about Jessica, Monse, Jennifer, or Josie. Monse, go for it. Subtract 8 from both sides. Let's follow along. Subtract 8, and Monse, tell me what my new equation states. 10x plus what? 14, yep, is equal to 12x. Perfect, thank you, Monse.
Is this the question thing or like?
It's all the way down. Without 3 fingers, it's a fist with, yeah. Okay, question, Andres.
Yeah, so are we ever gonna do those cards again? Like
We are going to do those cards, but I need to get that set up. First, I need to get a seating chart, then I can get the card set up. Yeah, I've been a little bit behind because of my son being sick. But eventually those systems will be back in place. Good question. All right. Next step. Again, waiting for 3 girls to participate. Putting the pressure on. Something is going to happen with the X's as a hint. What is my next step? Josie, Jennifer, or Jessica? Trying to hide behind Josie. Yes, Jessica, go for it. You do indeed subtract 10x from both sides. And Jessica, tell me what my new equation states.
14 equals 2.
There it is. And my next step after that. Again, it's down between 2. Jennifer, go for it.
2 divided by 2.
Wait, what?
Both sides.
And x is therefore equal to what, Jennifer? It was Jessica last time.
Who's before Jessica?
7. Monse, then Jessica. Yep. And that is our final answer. Thank you, Jennifer. It is indeed 7. That is all for our notes. Are there any questions about the notes? Give me a fist of 5 again on how you can solve, how well can you do the objective? How can you solve equations with vertical angles? Give me a fist of 5. Ah, some numbers got higher. Nice, 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 nice. All right, we are immediately starting on the homework. Do not do your summary in class. If you're doing your summary in class, then you're making sure you can't get down the, or you're not letting yourself forget to go down the curve of forgetting. You need to be able to forget and then review.